Hello, Aquarius, and welcome to Indigo Rising Tarot. Thank you so much for joining me today, and I hope you're having a great day. This will be your weekly reading for the week of November 9th through the 15th. And during that time, we have a waning gibbous moon, and that is a really good time for self-reflection and rebirth, a good time to make positive changes and get rid of bad habits and negative thinking. We then move into the last quarter moon on the 13th, 14th, and that is a really good time for more reflection, releasing what no longer serves us, definitely getting ready for new beginnings. You need to kind of let go, take responsibility for your past actions, and just think about things, have a clear vision for what you want, what adjustments and changes that you want to make when we're coming up on the new moon, which is a good time to start new things, of course. So please pay attention to those moon energies if they affect you like they do me as we move through the week. We've got a card coming out for you. We will go ahead and take that. This will be an intuitive general reading for the energies that you may or may not encounter this week, Aquarius. So as always, please take what resonates and leave what doesn't for someone else. And your overall message card for this reading is to look at the bigger picture. And that card was really trying to jump out for you. So there must be something that you need to look at the bigger picture about. As I'm shuffling the tarot cards, I would like to say that my fun weekly reminder this week is that you keep a spiritual journal. Sometimes we don't recognize the patterns that are evolving in our life when it comes to our spiritual life. So keeping a little journal of those things, and that could be things like synchronicities, different spiritual experiences that you're having, keeping track of things that you learn. This could be maybe a dream that you're having or encounters, but keeping track of those things helps us look back on those emerging patterns, and it can just be a really important tool as we're evolving spiritually. So that is my fun weekly reminder for you, Aquarius, is to keep a spiritual journal if you don't already do so. All right, let's get right into this reading. Aquarius, November 9th through the 15th. Look at the bigger picture. All right, your overall present energy right now is the High Priestess. So this is our card of mystery. This is card of, our intuition. This is finding truth through those things. So, if we're supposed to be looking at the bigger picture, you may have some things that you that are coming to you in the dream, in the dreamscape somewhere, maybe again, also just intuition, like you just know something, you're not even sure why you know the thing, but it's just kind of there. We really have to, there's instincts and there's reasons why we're given those gifts, and you really do have to pay attention on certain things. So if there's something that you've been having intuitive feelings about, or just really strong feelings and you're not even sure where they're coming from, you may want to pay attention to those things. Your current situation is the Knight of Swords. So you may have had some sort of messaging coming in or some idea, really. This could be either. This is air energy, but this is something that's coming in very swiftly for you this week. Some unexpected message that's coming in, and your intuition could have maybe had a little feeling that you thought this was going to happen. Sometimes it happens like that you get this intuition that may go on for a few weeks, and then when the thing happens, you're kind of ready for it because you kind of saw it coming a little bit. So pay attention to that. There's some message that's going to come in for you this week, or some thought that you're going to have that's going to be pretty significant for you this week. At the root of your situation is the King of Cups. So thank goodness that you are sitting in this King of Cups energy for whatever this thing is, because this is just being very calm and cool and collective when it comes to our emotions. The king is not spilling any emotions out of this cup right here. And the king is really just about the knowledge of not only your emotions and how to manage things, but also the people around you. Anytime we're talking about royalty, I think it's kings and queens have a they have like a bird's eye view of their constituents. Everyone around you. You kind of understand all the emotional play that's going on in any given situation, and that's something that you have when it comes to this week and whatever's going on with you this week. You can kind of see everyone's emotions around you. Also, what is in your recent past is the Page of Wands. So you might have stumbled upon something that you're newly passionate about. Let me grab a drink of my coffee. Also, anytime I have a little frog in my throat or something during a reading. It makes me think you need to speak up about something. There's going to be something that you do need to speak up about, and that could also be this Knight of Swords. But anyway, in your recent past, Page of Wands, which is something that you're newly passionate about. Okay, so something has come in for you. A lot of times this can be, a relationship, but sometimes it's just, a thing like a hobby or an interest or something. Maybe you've picked up a book on just magicians from the Middle Ages. I don't know, and that is just what you're into right now, So, and it doesn't have to be anything big or major or life changing. It's just something that you're very curious and interested and passionate about at the moment. And that's something recent for you, and that could be, anytime we're looking behind us, it's a kind of a catalyst for things that are coming up. So there, this new passion maybe led to this new intuition, which leads to this, it's all kind of, there's all an interconnectedness of all of that, if that makes sense. What is on your mind this week is some sort of partnership or friendship here with the Two of Cups, coming together with those open cups, like I was talking about with the King here. This is coming together in friendship, and it's on your mind to maybe do that. And maybe there's something you just want to discuss with a friend, get together, hang out. It might be something that you might want to discuss this intuitive thought that you've had, with a friend. Sometimes it's just good to check with someone real and say, hey, I've been thinking this thing and I don't really know why I'm thinking it. Your friend may have some clarity that you don't, and say, well, obviously, yes, blah, blah, blah. Don't you love it when that happens? When your friend just knows the thing and you're still wondering about it. Anyway, so there might be a friend on your mind that you want to consult with, talk to, just kind of bounce this off. They may not have the answers, but they might. You never know. What is just ahead of you this week is a little bit of hard work here with this Eight of Pentacles. And I like to say with this card, this is someone with the ability to focus. I always say if we yelled this person's name, they wouldn't even hear us, because they're just so into their work and they have their head down. So it's hard work, but it's interesting and engaging work as well. And that's ahead of you for this week. In your advice position is the Eight of Wands. So, also two eights on the table now. So you may want to look up angel number 88. We'll see if we have more come out. But the advice is just take things up as they come, because they're coming in quickly. Like I said, with this messenger here, that Knight of Swords is coming in quickly. It looks like there's other things to follow for you this week, and it's just going to kind of come in rapidly. And it's almost like, you just have to be on the ready, in the right position. I always think of like an outfielder in baseball with their glove on and ready to go, just watching everything that's going on in the game in case that ball comes. So you need to be at the ready for the things that might come in for you this week. What is beyond your control this week is a little bit of disappointment here with the Three of Swords. So, maybe that comes in something with this message. Maybe it doesn't. Maybe it's something a little disappointing with this friend that's on your mind or that you're talking to. But it's kind of beyond your control that there's going to be a little bit of heartbreak in whatever's going on for you this week. Maybe just disappointment. It doesn't have to be, so dramatic, but it could just be something you're disappointed about and like, oh, that didn't really work out. And remember, even though these swords are going through a heart, this is air energy. So again, the message that comes in or something maybe just doesn't quite go your way, and not only is it heartbreak, but it's kind of, because it's air energy, it's like mind break is what I like to say. That you're like, oh dang, that didn't work out the way I wanted it to. But as always with the universe, if things don't work out the way you want them to, there's usually a reason that you can't see in the moment. You will see it down the road as you're looking back. What is your secret desire and what you're trying to avoid? Truth. Very interesting. Is there some truth that you are trying to avoid, or is it your secret desire to get to the truth? There's no right answer to this. You will have to answer this on your own. Again, I'm going to say speak up, because there's that little frog in my throat again, which I haven't had. I've been talking for a while now with some other readings, haven't had that. So are you avoiding some truth? There's your high priestess again. Or are you trying to get to some truth? This will be your big question. And again, there's no right answer to this. It's personal to you. Some Aquarians will want the truth. Some are trying to avoid the truth, and either path is fine. Whatever you're learning this week, if you don't learn it this week, I promise you it'll come back another time for you to learn. If you learn it, you're moving on. That's just the way it works. There's no right or wrong answer here. So you need to ask yourself, do I really want the truth, or am I trying to avoid the truth right now? In your outcome position is moving on to the future here with yet another 8. Interesting. So now we have 3 8s. I want you to look up angel number 888, see what bearing that might have on your week. But this is you moving, to the future with some support at your back with these cups. You've got people who love and support you and want to see you do well. And this is kind of exploring. This is kind of off to explore, what might be next for you, what is the next thing. But interesting though that we do have we've got 8, 8, and 8. We were only missing the 8 of Swords. Which one is the 8 of Swords? Oh, that's right. That's kind of a little anxious. And how did you get, how did you get it's like a card of being stuck. So you're not that. You're working hard. You got things coming in for you, and you're moving towards the future positively. Your big question this week, again, is to ask yourself, do you want the truth, or are you avoiding the truth? Let's see what's hidden from you this week. Is the 5 of Cups, which is kind of our card of grief and sadness. So remember, I was talking about the 3, that this is a little heartbreak, but it's not extreme, right? It's kind of annoying that this thing doesn't work out for you, but it's not so extreme that you're just that it's really going to drag you down that much. So I like that. I mean, I don't like that you're annoyed about something, but things don't always work out, right? That's just the way it goes. And sometimes for a reason. Sometimes you think you want a thing, and when it doesn't happen, it just leads to something else. So that is what that card means. And I'm glad that that grief is definitely hidden from you this week. All right, let's get a final message here from the Soul Oracle deck. Final words for Aquarius, November 9th through the 16th. All right, this card right here. Keep your commitments. So whatever it is that you have going on this week, and keep your commitments. This could have something to do. Maybe you're supposed to have lunch with a friend, but you've got these things are coming in, all this stuff's going on. Keep that commitment. Maybe you've got some things with work going on and you've got all this stuff going on. Keep those commitments. you know um just because things are going on doesn't mean that you just get to go, well, I'm going to shut down and lock my door and stay inside today. You do need to keep your commitments and kind of keep going, and this could be the big spiritual lesson that you're learning right now, and the reason why the universe is doing this. If you have a habit of doing that, of kind of shutting down when life gets a little bit crazy, until you learn how to keep your commitments and keep things going when life does get crazy, it'll just keep happening. It's almost like you have to learn that lesson in order to put a stop to it. It'll become less crazy, if that makes sense. So let's see what you need to do in the way of self-care this week. Self-care for Aquarius. Self-care for Aquarius this week. And the card that comes up is Friend. Be as good a friend to yourself as you are to others. Well, that's very nice and very true. Be as good a friend to yourself as you are to others. Again, and maybe this is on your mind, friendship. So are you a good friend to yourself? Do you treat yourself as well as you do your friends? If you don't, you need to start doing that. So Aquarius, thank you so much for being here with me. I hope there was something in this reading that you can take away and use in your life this week. If you're comfortable sharing, of course, drop me a comment down below. Let me know, was any of this relevant to you this week? Did you have some things coming in quickly? Did this reading prepare you for that? Even if the week goes by and it comes to mind that something was relevant to you, pop back over, leave a message and let me know. Also, if you have any questions about this reading, I'd be happy to answer those for you. Anyway, if you like my reading style, please hit that like and subscribe button. It really helps my channel. And more importantly, it'll help you find me next week, where you can come back and we can see if this energy continues or if there's something completely new here for you. So thank you so much, Aquarius, for being here, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.